Ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids across our beloved empire, and of course, I'm not going to forget about you, Kiadimundi, Koneds, the Jawas, the Ewoks, the Twi'leks, and Togrutas, whatever you might be. Thank you so much for stopping by today, because dang, it's great to be in the Empire today. And speaking of Empire, we're going to be taking a look at Lord Failure. Sorry, I meant Lord Vader, of course, and showcasing how we're cranking him up a notch. A couple weeks ago, we showcased Lord Vader soloing the heroic Sith. They put a card in the top right-hand corner. Don't you worry, it won't bite, but we're cranking it up a notch and dialing it up and showing how you can three-man the heroic Sith race with Lord Vader, Darth Vader lead, and Grand Admiral Thrawn, which makes him one of the most impressive characters for the heroic Sith raid, if that's something you still care about. And I want to talk briefly about his challenge Rancor rate viability that we tested out the other day as well. So before we do all that, let's go ahead and roll a little bit of a sponsor that Larry has planned out for you. Hit it!
Citizens of Alderaan, are you tired of playing mobile games that just take your money, give you no communication, and give you no content to play? Well, then let me tell you about our planetary sponsor,
Raid Shadow Legends. If you're looking to take on one of the biggest challenges in mobile gaming history, you gotta check out the Doom Tower. This huge tower is basically a giant prison. After the Arbiter failed to take out all of the foes in the Doom Tower and had to lock them up, it's been a few thousand years. And now Suroth is leaking back into the world. And it's up to you and me to go in there and clean up house. Doom Tower is gonna need every single champion that you have at your disposal. You're gonna need some serious specialists if you want to climb all the way to the top. And this month in Raid has a non-stop schedule of special events to celebrate the Halloween festivities. Massive rewards, tournaments against other players, special fragment events to get some brand new legendary champions, including one very spooky Halloween champion. I have another great champion that you can get for free if you scan my QR code or go to the links down below in the video description. And if you're a new player, you'll be getting an epic hero, Chonaru, 200,000 silver, 1 XP booster, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard. All this treasure will be waiting for you right up here, but you gotta be quick because these rewards are only available for the next 30 days. I gotta say, we've done a lot of Lord Vader testing, and we just finished up our most recent Grand Arena season with Lord Vader in its entirety, and we haven't had any struggle with the guy. A little bit underwhelming, as you guys know, in terms of PvP aspects, Squad Arena, Grand Arena, all that fun stuff can kind of get beaten easily, and usually when a new Galactic Legend comes out, and the first month of Grand Arena is a nightmare. Not so much of Lord Vader, but Maul's coming around the corner in about 1.5 weeks or so from now, and I'm sure Lord Vader is going to be different when it comes to the PvP stuff, and probably be a lot better when Maul gets added to the picture. However, you guys, even though Sith Raid isn't really as relevant anymore, it's soon going to be a simmable event. Statistically speaking, people love to see Galactic Legends, or any character for that matter, do some crazy stuff in the heroic Sith raid, and a three-man solo isn't something completely new. It's not 100% new to Lord Vader, because we have seen something like this with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Hux, I believe Kylo Ren on Mass, also known the three-man solo. Really, at that point, it's just bragging rights. There's no reason to underman a Sith raid unless you just want to challenge yourself. And Lord Vader really taking the challenge up a notch here, going from the 5-man setup that we showed a while ago that had Darth Vader lead, still rocking a Darth Vader lead, far superior than Lord Vader, because all those damage over time stick, which allow for some massive coaling blade slices from Darth Vader, bringing in Lord Vader for pretty much mainly to ramp up our mastery, but more importantly, get those unresistible damage over times to apply. And then we had Thrawn as well in that last turn we did to make sure we're swapping as many turns over to either Darth Vader or Lord Vader as much as possible. But before as well, we also used Piet and Darth Traya. And for those that do care about the heroic Sith, they're like, well, I don't have Traya, I don't want to use Piet. And I completely agreed. So I decided to challenge us a little bit. And I took out Traya, and we took out Piet, and really more or less, it felt like the same exact run. Now, minor spoiler, the last 2% or so in the heroic Sith raid kind of choked a little bit, as you'll see more towards the end of the video. One thing I recommended the last time I made this Sith raid video with the 5-man squad, I recommended putting as much speed on Lord Vader as possible. Did I do what I preached? No, I did not give Lord Vader more speed for this raid. I'm pretty sure if we would have just upped this speed a little bit more, get a couple more damage over times, that last 2% wouldn't have been any concern whatsoever. But this overall strategy is pretty much the same. You're going to want to have your Darth Vader lead and that Zeta mainly for that massive amount of damage over times. They're going to stack over time because they just cannot go away. And once you're starting to get 30, 40, 60, 70 plus damage over time, it's basically free real estate, knocking out all these Sith Lords in the Sith Temple one by one, and then it's pretty much just letting Darth Vader's Coaling Blade carry the whole entire team. And oddly enough, Lord Vader, the Galactic Legend, although we're not using his lead, he is pretty much there more as a support character, very much so like the 5-man crew. And ideally, I would have wished to have more speed on him, because the more damage over time you're getting, the more deadly the Coaling Blade is going to be with Darth Vader, and the quicker you're going to be able to get out of these phases. And it gets really easier, especially when you get into phase 4 and you got multiple Sith Triumvirate members on the other side. When you're getting as many damage over times going, once you take out Nihilus and you swap over to Sign, it should be very easy knocking him out. And that's why you really want to have a fast Lord Vader for this situation. In terms of the grandeur of the squadron, you kind of want more of an offensive heavy Lord Vader, not so much speed. But in this situation, as you'll see, even without moving the mods around, still getting a lot of work done. Thrawn was here. Who knows, we might take this up even a notch further and just do a 2-man solo with just Darth Vader lead and Lord Vader. I brought in Thrawn mainly because, one, the fracture is nice, trying to keep things under control, slowing things down a little bit, but also constantly passing over the turns to Lord Vader to get as many damage over times out there as possible. So when it did come time to use Merciless Massacre and of course the Coaling Blade, there'd be so many damage over times ready to go for your team. And keep in mind as well, when you have Lord Vader taking a lot of turns and he's using his unshackled emotions, he's applying tons of damage over time. But the more often you're getting unshackled emotions out there, the more ideally mastery you're going to be increasing on all of your dark side allies. And the mastery increases make Darth Vader, that is, even more of a menace, because he's able to take care of those Coaling Blades with all those damage over time, but it's going to do more and more damage over the scope of the battle. So that's why I firmly believe Thrawn was actually fairly helpful here to pass over as many turns as Lord Vader as possible, to increase the damage over times as well as to increase the mastery on your team as well. And pretty much for the most part, that is kind of the most important thing with Lord Vader. We tried Lord Vader out in the lead, just not much was happening. Oddly enough, in the Sith threat, it's really just those damage over times that make this viable. And we're going to talk about challenge record rate in a few more moments here. This Lord Vader lead just isn't as impressive as of now when it comes to raid types of viability. And that's why Darth Vader lead right now is far superior for that matter. A little pro tip, we kind of already zoomed through phase 1 and phase 2. You got to really time out the unbreakable will. That's really, once you get through phase 1, it's easy peasy. The Nihilus in phase 4, you're not even going to think twice about the guy. But you do have to at least soak up one Annihilate from Darth Nihilus in phase 1. And it's incredibly imperative that you make sure you time it well. I can guarantee you're not going to have any problem doing this run whatsoever with a 3-man or 5-man, as long as you time out the one unbreakable will right. I had to do this run 1 or 2 times because of the fact that you kind of think, oh, I have enough time to make sure you get unbreakable will out. But the problem is, I would give unbreakable will to Lord Vader, but he's too darn fast. And he drops the unbreakable will too fast, and then Nihilus goes ahead and annihilates someone. So you got to make sure you line up this job perfectly by giving the unbreakable will, preferably to Darth Vader, as I'll explain in a moment, or secondly, giving it to Thrawn. The unbreakable will on Lord Vader just wasn't really working for me. He just was dropping it way too quickly. And when you're using unbreakable will, you want to make sure they're going to be the ones that take on that annihilate from Darth Nihilus. And the reason why ideally you want to give it over to Darth Vader in phase 1, or in the situation you're going to phase 4 and Nihilus might get an annihilator. I don't think we ever had that problem for the most part. Vader, with his new tweaks, buffs, with his nerfs that happened not too long ago, with his unique ability, No Escape, he is getting tons of health and protection recovery whenever a damage over time effect expires on an end, which they're going to be expiring a lot. Naturally, when they're taking turns, the damage over times will expire, but with the Vader lead, they'll reappear, or through Coaling Blade as well, forcing them to expire, and then they reappear again. Vader's going to get back up to full health and protection very easily by himself with his unique ability, No Escape, and of course Thrawn passing over turns to get his protection back up and running. Beyond that, the run was so straightforward. I have ran the 3-man Supremator Kyle Ren lineup, and Supremator Kyle Ren is still fantastic. The OG original best Galactic Legend for the raid, and given the many faults I've given to Lord Vader as of now, I gotta give that title over to Lord Vader. I feel like this team with Vader, and Thrawn, it's the easiest raid team I have ever come with when it comes to the Sith raid. But that begs the question, although people love to see it, it's more of a bragging rights type of thing at this point. With the Heroic Sith raid, if you have Lord Vader, chances are your guild will be simming the Heroic Sith raid, probably the next update or two. That's going to be added to Star Wars Galaxy series. The main thing people want to know about is the challenge rank raid, and I've been kind of hesitant to put a video out about it because I've done a lot of testing with Lord Vader. And I remember last time we made this video with the 5-man Sith raid, I was like, all right, we're going to try to replicate this inside of the challenge Rancor raid. And for the most part, we did a 4-phase testing the other day during a stream, phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. For the most part, we only can get about 5% damage out of him or so. Using the Vader lead, trying to get that tenacity down of Kylo Ren and Mass, for example. And then, of course, you're bringing in things like Lord Vader for the unresistible damage over time. The problem is you don't got as much time to kind of ramp up your mastery, get as many damage over time going. You really only got a chance for maybe 1 Coaling Blade, maybe 2 at max, and then it seems like the run kind of dies off. So right now we're kind of hovering around 5%, so we're not seeing not much interesting with Lord Vader yet when it comes to the challenge rank rate, except just average performance at best. That might change. Maul is gonna be unlocked soon in the next 2 weeks or so from Conquest. We're gonna see our first few Mauls lingering around out there. Yours truly will have one as well. We're gonna do extensive testing with him, of course, but with Maul coming to the picture and getting tons and tons and tons and tons of repetitive damage over and over again, and big damage at that, we might start seeing a little bit different of a change with Lord Vader when it comes to specifically the challenge rank rate. I don't know about you guys, correct me if I'm wrong. For those of you that have Lord Vader, is the challenge rank rate still an important, the Heroic Sith rate still an important thing for you at this point? I just like doing it because it's kind of a fun little, it's like a mini game. It's kind of something to challenge you a little bit, because Heroic Sith rate has long kind of been outdated for the most part. People just kind of put it on sim auto and just get the rewards and call it a day. But there's still people that want to clear it, 1, to make sure the guild gets the rewards, and 2, to try out new compositions and solo type of lineups. If you're looking for a lineup that's going to be a lot of fun for you, this is going to be the way to go. And here we go. We're in the final stretch. Like, oh man, we're looking so good. And of course, at the very end, we choke at the last 2%. And that's where probably remodding Lord Vader to get a lot more speed out there would be the way to go. And furthermore, what I would also recommend, I should have probably adjusted Darth Vader's mods a little bit. Last time we had a potency cross on Vader, and we didn't change it for this run as well, because it was you only have like 2 seconds to run this for the guild clears. We didn't have time to remod, but here we threw on it. We should have thrown on an offense cross at him, because all that little bit of extra damage would have probably gotten us through that last 2% or so. So if you are wanting to challenge yourself and take advantage of Lord Vader and his Heroic Sith raid viability, just to get those last few moments of bragging rights out there, I would definitely go with a speed set on Lord Vader, to make him as fast as possible, throwing out as many damage over times as possible. And then with your Darth Vader, I would highly recommend throwing an offense cross on him so he's able to squeak out as much damage as possible. Lord Vader, interesting galactic legend. I still think we have a lot to learn about this character, but we gotta wait for Maul to come into the picture. 3v3s around the corner, and who knows, maybe a 3v3 scenario is where he is really going to shine. But I think Maul is really gonna complete the picture. So until then, always know it's great to be in the Empire today. I don't know really what the point of these Heroic Sith raid videos are anymore. I just find them fun to showcase some crazy power that these galactic legends have. Although it seems like he's having a hard time against Jedi in the game right now. He apparently has no issue whatsoever raiding a Sith temple. Is that how Revenge of the Sith went? Did he raid the Sith temple? I don't know. We're rewriting history in Galaxy series apparently. Like if you enjoyed the video, comment down below on all your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And most importantly, always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today.